2022 really seems to be the year of grid-based strategy games. With games like the Front Mission Remaster, Metal Slug Tactics, and the Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp being worked on by WayForward, we are definitely getting our fill of the genre, and I'm here for it. The last game I played with this style of gameplay was that Dark Crystal game. And well, I've already said my feelings on that particular game. The conveyance of story is weak, animations are few and far between, and they're also a little stiff. And it just really puts a dent in the overall quality of the game. But now, even before all of that, we have possibly my most anticipated title of the genre. Team Asano and Square Enix gives us the original story of Triangle Strategy, a game where you decide the actions of Lord Serenoa of Wolford, as his newly appointed status of Lord is overshadowed by the looming threat of a reawakened war between the three leading nations. It's these decisions we make that will choose which nations will gain our favor and which ones might just try to stab us in the back. In Triangle Strategy, it's all about the player's convictions that will map out just how the story plays out. The decisions you make and how you talk to your fellow allies will decide just what actions you can even take. Even though you act as the Lord of House Wolford, it is through your allies that your ultimate decisions are made, through a system known as the Scale of Conviction. Each of your 7 comrades get to put their say into the Scale of Convictions, with the majority vote deciding just what actions the house will take. And while this might just be a game mechanic driven way to show how your story plays out, it's a system that I am growing to love. I'd encourage for at least your very first playthrough to answer the questions and handle matters how you would, because the best part of this system is that your answers don't tell you what they affect. You just know that your convictions are strengthened somehow. And I really think that's a cool decision to make, really letting you see the results of your answers as opposed to the game telling you which answer leads to what. Triangle Strategy has a really nice blend of storytelling coupled with gameplay that, if you're familiar with games like Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre, then you will be very familiar with the system, though Triangle Strategy does do quite a bit to give you a fresher experience. Like for example, the positioning of your characters play a major role. Placing your characters on higher ground gives you a reward of bigger damage, and placing them between enemies gives the advantage of attacking and warranting a follow-up strike, which in my experience so far can really tip the scales of battle.
Let us pry out their weakness. That seems to work.
Another game changer is the magic system. Casting the elements you're used to now comes with varied effects. For example, casting ice can hinder enemy movement, but casting fire over it can melt the ice and leave an open opportunity for elevated thunder damage if left standing in the puddles you've created. Adding onto this that structures can be burned down if set ablaze, which can have all kinds of effects. And this may sound familiar to you as this was one of the major features some of the first trailers were focusing on. While I hope this has better implementation further into the game, you won't see yourself doing it too often for the first few hours, at least not in abundance. While there are classes, they are more so attached to characters rather than being interchangeable between characters, and I honestly like that a little more. Makes each character feel important. And over time your characters can be promoted to higher ranks of their class, giving them better stats and abilities. If I had to pick a favorite class so far, I'd say Spy. Ailment damage mixed with the ability to attack twice really just makes Anna a super valuable asset to the team. Each character feels well thought out, and not empty shells, which can happen with these types of games. I really liked Benedict. His loyalty and teacher personality just resonates with me. I really hope I don't make decisions where I might not like Benedict so much. Please don't ruin this for me.
Control yourself. At any rate, we must confirm exactly what has happened.
The good blend of storytelling I mentioned before comes in the form of fully voice-acted cutscenes, which is great, but while I feel the voice actors themselves are great, some of the voice direction can feel a little off sometimes. It's not super jarring, but just a little noticeable sometimes.
That should be the end of that bothersome bedrock. Investigate it at once.
The other element of gameplay is the exploration segments. These allow you to explore where your party has traveled, giving you the chance to talk to party members, give dialogue options that will strengthen your conviction, and learn more about the neighboring nations, their cultures, and even the history of the Great Salt Iron War that has only recently subsided. I love these little segments as they serve as a nice break from the action, and it gives potential for more fleshing out of your characters. And from what I've heard from just a few hours, the soundtrack is unsurprisingly fantastic, but what might be surprising is the main composer. Akira Shinju is no stranger to lengthy compositions, but his work stems more from anime, some of his more notable work being from the Victory Gundam OST, as well as the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood OST. Transitioning to video game music seems seamless in terms of quality. The story itself I won't get into too much as it's a brand new game, but it tackles the big subject matter like religion, the power of trade, classism, racism, and the subject of morality. This is something I can just get lost in, and honestly, even the opening hours of the game have escalated to where I'm seriously hooked and I need to know what happens next. There are visible faults like the AI being a little dumb and not targeting weaker allies when there is a big opportunity to do so. But maybe that's a blessing in disguise, as once a character is defeated, they are out of the rest of the fight. Maybe this can be rectified later on, but for the first few hours, you gotta plan strategically. When the AI isn't being merciful, that is. Triangle strategy has been, for the most part, what I've been wanting to see from this type of genre. There are fleshed out mechanics like the Quietus system that lets you do battle support moves that can turn the tide of battle, and each character learns moves that can change the playing field, like building a wall of ice to block off enemies, and even moves like making a character of your choice move next. This is the kind of thought and care I want put into these games, and for as much as I've played, I'm dying to see more of this game. For all the grid-based strategy games coming out this year, this is the one I feel is going to really push this type of system to its limits, and from what I've seen, it's already doing it. The polish is more than evident with engaging storytelling and even different ways of storytelling like the aforementioned exploration phase, and even little touch-ups like a fully rotatable camera, movement squares that show you where you can move and also which ones you'll be under fire if you move to them. It's all just so good. Literally what I was saying was missing from the Dark Crystal RPG. Triangle strategy may just be the big step that this genre needs, and I encourage you to pick it up. Also, I have the attention span of a newborn goat, so being able to bring up the log of dialogue and even character profiles of whoever is speaking is just about the best decision anyone could ever make. Now if you'll excuse me, I have got to get back into it. Thanks for watching. I hope this brief summary and early thoughts of Triangle strategy help you decide if you want to pick this up or not. I usually do full reviews of games, but this is just one I had to talk about. If you liked the video, leave a like, and consider subscribing if you're new. Thanks for watching, and keep it practical.